Professor B.K. Joshi, Professor, School of Environmental Science and ECS. He will be delivering the lecture on managing forest and forest resources, geospatial perspective. I would like to read his brief biodata. Professor B.K. Joshi is a chairperson, Social Center for Disaster Research and Professor, School of Environmental Science, Jawaharlal Nehru University, New Delhi. Prior to shifting to New Delhi in 2007, he was an Indian with the Indian Institute of Remote Sensing of a Space Research Organization for around a decade. During this, he was also adjunct faculty to the Center for Space Science and Technology Education in Asia and Pacific, an UN-affiliated institution. Professor Joshi has immensely contributed in understanding geosphere and biosphere interaction while using inputs from each observation system and geospatial technology. He has addressed some of the pressing questions related to climate change while interacting data set from the variety of land use, land cover, and glacier and precipitation and temperature regimes. He is a recipient of Indian Academy of Science and National Academy of Science of India Young Scientist Medal and the National Remote Sensing Award of ISRO and ISRO. He is a fellow of Indian Academy of Environmental Science, a fellow of Indian Geospatial Union, and fellow of National Academy of Agricultural Science. He was visiting faculty to University of Helsinki, Spring 2009, Yale School of Forestry and Environmental Studies, Spring 2011, University of Freiburg. Recently, he was recognized as KTP Visiting Fellow of University of Technology, Sydney, Australia.
So what I will do is I will try taking you somewhere from basics of forest management to basics of remote sensing and GIS, and subsequently some of the applications which as a country we all are proud of, and we all are contributing to the quality science of forest management through the inputs of remote sensing and GIS. So if you look at the challenges in forest management, and these are true for country, these are true for the entire world, wherein habitat loss or endangeredness and even increase in exotic species, those have actually brought a great challenge to forest management. If you talk about entire Himalayan belt, Eupatorium is one of the most notorious species which has been seen. If you see the entire India, Lantana camara is another species which has gone to length and breadth of the country and even the adjoining countries, and which is creating a great challenge to forest managers who are working on the field. Apart from that, unsustainable resource use, and I would like to emphasize the word unsustainable over here, because resources are to be used to best of my understanding. There should be a synergy between human communities and the natural resources, wherein in the entire life cycle of resource, use is one of the very important component. But what has actually happened, that this extraction or use has gone into something unsustainable fashion, and that is creating a lot many challenges to all of us. Then because of human activities and precisely the post-industrialization era, we have seen that pollution in air, water, land, everywhere, this has created altogether different kind of problem. It has got into our food chain, it has got into the entire biogeochemical cycles, and subsequently it has affected a huge forest or vegetative cover which is there on the planet. So this again has to be looked with a greater sense of responsibility, that pollution is bringing different kind of challenges to forest managers. And as we all know, and everybody prefers talking about climate change, that is a trigger event which is precisely because of the post-industrial addition of carbon dioxide and other kind of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, and then subsequently changes in the precipitation and temperature regimes, which has altogether given a different playground to vegetation. And as geographers say that, vegetation is the indicator of climate. So any kind of variation in climate basically affects the vegetation. Then I can keep on, listing such type of challenges which are there, which may vary from geographies, which may vary from scale. But globally, if you see the population growth, which is, again, one of the biggest challenges, both in rural areas, in urban areas, and the mosaics of this. And this population growth has redefined our demands, which could be something very obvious if you see in from the economic point of view, but it has again redefined our desires. So from a social perspective, we see that, this population growth, which could be a geographic phenomena, but it has basically affected our all kind of resources, including the forest and hence the forest management. So if you all agree with me with in these bullet points, then you should also agree with me the way, forest is decreasing around the globe. We have got to understand from the many of the reports that per capita forest area in the world is 0.64 hectare, whereas if you look at India, there is a shift in decimal. People who understand mathematics or statistics, or who look at statistics carefully, they will appreciate that this shift in decimal matters a lot. And that is what has affected, forest or forest resources in the country, which has brought much more acute pressure on the forest resources. And what we got to understand, not only in India, but entire globe, your forest cover is decreasing. It is in fact, depleting because of many of the activities. One is clear felling, which appears to be, somewhere controlled by Forest Conservation Act, but practically on the ground, if you see that there are, random or scattered cases of such kind. Whereas forest degradation is something, a very common tune in forest across the country and the world, both in qualitative terms and in quantitative terms. So that kind of, mechanism is underplaying, and which is affecting the forest resources. Forests are very important, not only for our well-being, but also because these affect many of the abiotic factors, and that is probably the reason these are considered to be sink as well as source of greenhouse gases. So to manage these resources, we actually need a very reliable database or a reliable information system which everybody is looking forward to. But before actually getting into that science, let us understand it very categorically, that based on the evidences or based on the points which I presented, human interventions are the root cause of most of the degradation which is happening around us, whether it is atmosphere, whether it is lithosphere, or it is biosphere, and in totality entire biosphere. We talk in terms of a term given by Sir A.G. Tansley, ecosystem, which is assemblage of biotic and abiotic factors interacting with each other. And to see how good any area is, you try to look at the health of the ecosystem. But probably what has happened over the period, the term which we had read in our school books as a interaction of biotic and abiotic factors, and here I would emphasize on biotic factors, they all interact with each other with irrespective of their shape, size, and many of other attributes, because there is something called energy demand. There is a law of flow of energy, as also further explained by E.P. Odum. But there are some of the social needs also wherein we get to interact with each other. But what exactly has happened, this ecosystem, it has taken a shape of something to me appears to be as ecosystem. And when I say it with a very high degree of responsibility, because most of the environmental degradation which are there, those are because of one species which has tried dominating over the entire planet. And unfortunately, that is Homo sapiens. And when I talk to, my female colleagues or my female students, I further feel very bad saying that one gender of this has tried dominating all fabrics, whether you call social fabrics, you call it economic fabric, or even other kind of professional fabrics. So this is what, according to me, this transition from ecosystem to ecosystem has actually affected most of the resources. As I am talking to forest ecologists or forest or would-be forest managers, so I would like to depict it in much more clearer way, which is true across the tropical countries, but even for the other forest ecosystems. So you have a very clear-cut, distinct unit which is called as forest. It has an ecological definition, it has a legal definition, and it has also a dictionary meaning. In all senses, forest is something which is set aside with tree cover, with having a good coverage of different kind of flora, fauna, tier of forest. You can keep on describing forest. But truly, there is something as non-forest, wherein, human activities are predominated, and those actually get into many of the usage of services which come from forest. And in between, there is something called as fringe, which is a relatively smaller buffer zone, but that plays a crucial role. It is true in Africa, it is true in Asia, it is true in America, it is true in any of the continents around the globe, that there is a fringe which interacts between forest and non-forest. And what exactly is happening, as I said earlier also, this non-forest is trying to expand, both in terms of its demands, in terms of its desires, and also in terms of its needs. And this fringe is getting pressurized to move more towards forest. And as a result, your forest area is shrinking. And it is actually shrinking. There is a depletion of resource which is taking place. Boundaries are shifting. And because of this depletion in resource and shift in the boundary, you have, something called as exponential impact on many of the other resources, which you see as natural disasters or impact or disasters being induced by climate change or global environmental change. These forests were always very useful because they were providing unique kind of, services. People were generally referring to them as goods, timber and non-timber forest products. But lately, with Millennium Ecosystem Assessment, we have all accepted that there is something called as ecosystem services, though the term was existing since 1960s and even much earlier, but people started realizing those are provisioning services, supporting services, regulatory services, and cultural services. You go anywhere in the world, these all stand true. So these kind of things were coming from forest to fringe to non-forest, and ultimately these all were affecting forest resources. And if I wish to list, different factors which are responsible to that, so there is a whole range of, factors which are in and around human beings or needs of human beings. So this kind of, socio-ecological interaction is somewhat very true, which is law of the human existence on this blue planet, but which is affecting many of our green and blue resources. So if you further try looking at this, so it means we have altogether different type of challenges for forest management from the perspective of forest managers. So for a responsible management, you need data and you need correct analysis of that data. Again, I generally in classroom, I say if data is king, context is God. So we have whole range of data set, and some people are privileged to have much higher access to such kind of data set. But probably that data is important, but more important is the correct analysis of that data. And why do you need that data? So this is very difficult to get convinced, but this is somewhat very, very important that you should know how correctly and for what I can analyze the data. And this becomes much more, bigger challenge when your challenges are complex. And as I showed you, there are so many things which play very important role. And for a democracy like ours and many other nations, even if you provide any solution, there is a whole range of bureaucracy which finds those solutions much more complicated. So this is, challenges are complex, but for any good reason, if you are able to get access to data and you can very scientifically, technically analyze that and provide the solutions, often those solutions also appear to be very, very complicated. So we actually need tools and techniques which are very powerful. Powerful in the sense they should be able to analyze this data. They should be able to anticipate the challenges, complex challenges while analyzing that data. And when they provide solution, though they appear to be complicated, but they should be able to provide those in a language which could be very nicely implemented on the ground. And as students, you all should understand this from the not only research perspective, but also from the operational perspective. So what you need, if you actually want to handle these things, you need capable professionals. The professionals, not only professionals, but the capable professionals who can understand this data, who can analyze this with the required rigor, and which can, disintegrate the complex challenges to provide simpler solutions. And for that, capacity building is crucial. And probably, this seminar or workshop which we are having, this is part of that entire game of capacity building, which is very crucial so that we all understand the correct way of using data or analyzing data so that we can address the challenge of forest management, or for that matter, any kind of resource management.